You are listening to Chapter 1 Lesson 1 of Form 3 Cameroon History. Cameroon, General Education. Narrated by Wacheseh Academy. Cameroon before annexation. The political and economic life of Cameroon before the annexation. Introduction. Before the arrival of the Europeans, the territory and people that make up present-day Cameroon actually existed, though without well-defined boundaries, maps, or modern national government. The territory was not known as Cameroon, rather they lived in separate ethnic groups ruled by local rulers like chiefs, fons, or kings and lamidos. The ethnic groups could easily be identified by their differences in culture and respective languages. The African history believes that the African continent with Cameroon including had a well-organized socio-political and economic setup that would have led to much prosperity today if not for the damage caused by European colonialism. Cameroon derived its name from the Portuguese word Rio dos Cameros. European powers on the coast of Cameroon. Activities of the European powers on the coast of Cameroon. 1. The Portuguese. They were the first Europeans to arrive at the coast of Cameroon. Their main activity was a trade. The first visited Cameroon from Sao Tome, their trading headquarters. In about 1640, they set up trading posts in Douala and Ambas Bay. Their main trading items were firearms, beads, shells, utensils, alcohol, ornaments, tobacco, cassava, and pawpaw. They exchanged these items for Cameroon's palm oil, slaves, ivory, hides and skins. 2. The Dutch. In 1642, they captured the Portuguese fort at Sao Tome. Thereafter, they established a trading post at the mouth of the Wouri River. They exchanged bars of iron and copper for ivory, gum, and hides. They ceased to take part in the Cameroon trade in 1795 when the French invaded and annexed Holland during the French Revolutionary Wars. 3. The British. By the end of the 18th century, the British had built their Bight of Biafra. They thus became leading European traders at the coast. Their main preoccupation was to abolish the slave trade. On the 10th of June 1840, King Akwa and Bell each signed treaties with the British, accepting to put an end to slavery and slave trade in their chiefdoms after the British introduced legitimate trade. By the 1860s and 1870s, the British trade started declining following the arrival of the French and Germans. The activities of the London Baptist missionaries. In 1844, Joseph Merrick founded the Jubilee Mission Station in Bimbia. He translated the Bible into Isabo, that is the Bimbia dialect. He set up a printing press and developed a machine for the making of bricks out of local materials. Joseph Merrick was one of the earliest non-African to climb Mount Cameroon. He died in 1849. Alfred Saker took over and made his first baptism in 1849. He translated the Bible into the Douala language. He founded 2 other missions in Dido and Banaberi. He founded Victoria in 1858. He opened up mission stations in Victoria. A school was opened in Botta for craftsmanship. Some native pastors were trained. Some natives were trained as carpenters. The London Baptist missionaries also opened health centers, and most often they gave drugs for the sick free. 4. The French. French interest in Cameroon was particularly noticed in the 1840s. It was only in the 1870s that they started establishing trading stations. They concentrated their trading activities in the villages of South Douala at Malimba, Big Batanga, and Campo. In 1883, they signed a treaty with King Makoko, nicknamed King Pass All of Malimba. This alarmed the other European powers that the French were about to annex Cameroon. 5. The Germans. German traders stated visiting Cameroon in noticeable number from 1849 when Carl Woman Girl Hamburg began operational in West Africa coast. In 1968, the Carl Woman firm was permanently established on the Cameroon coast. The Jansen and Thormalen firm was established in 1875. From there, they started challenging the English monopoly. These intense trading activities on the Cameroon coast came with their own problems. As a result of the increase in trading activities along the coast, Cameroonian citizens and chiefs became wealthier. With the subjects now rich made it difficult for the chiefs to rule peacefully. Competition with the European powers to trade with Cameroonians made matters worse. The result was that some chiefs began seeking protection from European powers. The arrival of early European missionaries. The London Baptist Missionary Society. This was the first mission to work in West Africa, and Cameroon in particular. The team was composed of some Jamaican freed slaves. The first group of Baptist missionaries to arrive in Cameroon included Dr. G.K. Prince and Reverend John Clark of Jericho. They first arrived Fernando Po Island in 1841 and visited the mainland of Cameroon that same year. King Bell and Aqua were glad to welcome them. Their main aim was to give light to the dark continent by spreading the glad tidings, the good news. Their initiatives were put forward by Sir Thomas Buxton, leader of the anti-slavery movement, and some liberated Negro Christians in Jamaica who were formerly slaves. Joseph Merrick and Joseph Fuller were amongst those who arrived in Fernando Po in 1842 and 1884. Joseph Merrick moved to Bimbia where he preached to the Isabu people and later on opened up the Jubilee Mission Station at Bimbia. Alfred Saker also crossed to Douala where he preached to the Doualas and later on offered baptism to many converts. Other churches. The Presbyterian Mission of American origin was the second to arrive in Cameroon in 1879 after having stayed in Gabon since 1871. The Catholics were the third in 1884. All these churches came to stay and were involved in the same activities of spreading Christianity.